Peter didn't just get forgiven by grace, he got reprogrammed by grace. Peter says if you want to grow in grace and grow in knowledge, that process doesn't start on the outside where you look better or you're around better people or you get a nicer house or you drive a cooler car. He says to really live well, to grow in grace and knowledge, you have to think wholesomely. You can't live a godly life with a mind full of garbage. And often I think I talk about the influence of culture or media or social media, but I think human beings do a pretty good job of filling their mind with garbage all by ourselves, right? I don't need social media to influence my thinking to be really negative or really pessimistic or really self-deprecating. He's like, look, church, I have sent you multiple letters and said multiple times, you've got to control what happens in between your ears. And man, nobody had a tougher battle to fight regarding the thoughts that they think than our good friend Peter. You're probably aware of the story, but as Jesus is being led away to get crucified, Peter denies knowing Christ 3 times. A rooster crows, and that reminds Peter that Jesus told him that's exactly what would happen. And in that moment, Peter hangs his head in shame. And I've wondered so many times as a Christian, what was Peter thinking in the days and weeks and months and even years that followed? I think his thought process probably sounded like this. Peter, you're a fraud. Peter, you said you'd die with him and you ran. You're a coward. Peter, you failed him when it mattered most. You're not a rock. You're just a pile of worthless rubble. Some of you who have lived through really challenging seasons of life, really painful seasons of life, know how the weight of shame can influence the thoughts that you think. Peter had to think those thoughts every single time he heard the name of Jesus or every single time he heard a rooster crow. And I bet when he looked in the mirror, he thought the same nasty things that some of us think about ourselves in the toughest seasons of our life. His thoughts certainly weren't wholesome. They were haunted. But then came the resurrection. Then came a breakfast with Jesus on the same shores that Christ initially asked Peter to follow him on. Then came Jesus demonstrating a love for Peter that was beyond his comprehension. That's Peter's experience with the radical, scandalous grace of God. And that would have quite literally re-hardwired Peter's brain. There's a neuroscientific truth here. Studies in trauma recovery actually show that relational warmth, what we might call grace, especially after failure, has the power to literally reshape the brain's memory patterns.